Hi everyone, this is Diane. I'm going to be doing the next step in my journal making process in the 50s journals, the 1950s fashion journals. And I have a mess right here because it is organized, although you may not think so. But I wanted to show you what I have here for this next step. So we have gotten to the point where the pages are colored where I wanted to stencil or stamp them. And I've added the fabric and lace, and then I added the large pockets. So now it's time to focus more on what each page might need. This page looks too blank, or there are too many blank pages close together. So what can I do? What can I add? And also at this point, I will take an inventory of what I have left of the ephemera that I have. So that's what I have out here. I wanted to show you. Move the journals out of the way. So I have these large pieces, cut out pieces of pretty ladies, and I might still use them in pockets and things, making cards out of them, but they're too big for what I want to do right now, so I'm just going to set them aside. I also have even larger pieces. So these are not a consideration for this step, for the most part. And then I have these. They're cut into squares, but I can fussy cut around some of them. But these are small enough that I may be able to use some of them, especially something like that in this step. And these are fussy cut. And some of them are small enough that I could use in this step. So I'll keep them handy. And I have smaller ones. These are the kind of thing I would just glue right onto a page just to add something to the page. And these are pieces with hats and shoes. Looks like I only have a few pairs of a few shoes left. They're not pairs. I just used one, so there are those. And then the ladies with the hats. And then this little advertisement for Avon Cosmetics. I could probably find more advertisements if I got more of my ephemera out, but I think I have enough here. And I have some little words that I might be able to use that are digital. And I have some stamps that I might want to use, small stamps, including word stamps up here. And then, of course, I have my scraps of paper, big and small. I have them right here so I can use them to accentuate the pieces that I'm going to use, make little collages and things like that. I also brought over on this side of my space, I have just some laces and fabric pieces, little scraps. So I don't know if I'll use them, but they're there if I need them. So, without any further ado, let's get into taking one of our signatures and seeing what we need to do. So here's one from the red book. And let's find a page that needs a little something. Here's where I just added a shoe. But, I'm sorry, in here, I also have all my little fussy cut digital ladies. And I do have some small pieces in here. Now this red journal is already reserved for someone, and I told you that her mother was a model, and she did give me permission to show these pictures. This is her beautiful mother. And I don't have my phone in here. I can give you more details in the next video. But she gave me some more information about her. So these pictures will go into this journal somewhere. So these are small enough. These leftover pieces from Christie Art Designs. I've had them printed for a long time, so I can get those out. These are a little large for what I want to do right now. So let's get going. I do want to add some ladies here to this page. In the blue journal, I added ladies to all of these pages, but I forgot and put a shoe there. So I'm just going to put them here. And on this page, this is from a knitting book, and it does have images on all the pages. But let me show you what I did in the other book. This is in the blue book. So here's the knitting page with the pretty dress. And here it was just no pictures, it was text. So I took strips of my paper, leftover paper, and just glued it all across there. And I had this series of pictures from one magazine page, and the title was A Little Veiling, A Lot of Glamour, and it showed different ways you could use veiling or netting. So this says, as a filmy stole clipped to top of bodice. That would make me so uncomfortable. And then this one says, for chignon and head-hugging flattery. So she just has it wrapped around her little chignon, or her bun, and it's draped over her face. No hat needed. And I'll add something there, a bow, maybe some tulle. I'll add some tulle there, that would be appropriate. And then I made little pockets here, mantilla variation with a spray of lilacs, and completely swathed and glamorously breeze-proof. So it's over her face and over her hair and just voluminous. And these are just plain tags. For now, I may do something with them. So I just had them open here and here. And the last one says, looped ends fall in billowy poof. So she's wearing it like a scarf. I thought that was fun for the 50s. On this page, I don't want to cover all these images, but what can I do to add a little more interest to the page? I could put something here, like a pocket, because I did add some pockets to that page. So let me look at these rectangular square pieces that I have cut out. Something with color, because this is mostly black and white. And in the 50s, it's kind of hard to find color images. There's not much color in that one. That would fit there. Here's a turban. Maybe we'll use that. It doesn't have much color. That's more colorful. Okay. I also have these skirts. I could make that into a pocket. But I don't think I will. Oh, I didn't mention I also have these little punch outs. Some of them I've made into clusters, and some are just waiting to be made into clusters. And a few playing cards. That would make a fun pocket because it's showing some skirts you could wear with those knitted tops. I'm trying to think of what things I might do in this stage, this step of my journal making for any other kind of journal. This is specific for my fashion journals, but this is typical of what I would do for any kind of, my basic journals that I do. Not basic, but my typical journal, I should say. Because they have a lot going on. They're not just basics, but they're my typical journals. So yeah, I would add stamping and glued on elements, whether they're digital or ephemeral like these. I think I want that yellow one front and center. And I think I need a piece of cardstock to glue them to form the pocket. Whoop! Sorry! I don't know. I don't think I want this one with the border punched on the top, but I was checking the color. No. Maybe I'll just do vellum again. I didn't want to take too long doing this, so I want to move on to the next things. I was thinking I could just put a square there, but no, I had to get complicated. So what I can do is lay this down, and then I can arrange the skirts so that they fit. I think I'll cut a little corner of this off. And I'll end up cutting a corner of that off. I don't want to use this glue because it kind of shows through this old paper sometimes. Although I do want to use it because I just like that glue, but it's not as heavy as this one. But this will work, and it will work fine. It doesn't show through. This is Fabri-Tac. I just put it in this bottle for easier use, because the Fabri-Tac nozzle is too big. I figure the more of these old images from old magazines I use, the better, because I have so many. These are just the ones that I thought looked like 50s. I have many more from other eras. 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Okay, I'm going to cut it here, and obviously there. I might trim a little off the top. There. It's kind of funny. skirts with legs, but no bodies. Is it too creepy? I thought it was a fun page in the magazine. They had a bunch of skirts. So I hope it's not too creepy. If you buy this journal and you don't like that, you can put a different picture on top of this. And because there's a lady here and the skirts here, I'll probably just put some plain paper in there, like not a picture. Maybe a cut off of my patterned paper can go in there. I think I want to do something here. So I'm kind of following what I did in this book. This is the different book, to embellish the pages. But when you have book pages, you never know, because you might have 4 sides of a book page that you want, just like this one, and then you might have 3 pages on a different one that you don't want. So you just have to come up with different ways to embellish those pages. I could just put that on there for added interest and maybe add a word. She is full of life. Something smaller. Wonderful. Yeah, I'll put it there. And then to add a little color here, I could just put a strip up here. Maybe I'll put a journaling spot there. So I have some paper that I cut off. There's not much room for writing there, but you could write a little note on it. And there's nothing wrong with leaving a page, a book page like this, with something that you would normally want to cover, and let the owner collage on it and add their own pictures and things. I may tend to overdo with adding stuff. I don't add as much as some people do, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to know where to draw the line. This says be yourself. So I could put that on there, and then somebody could journal about that. Be yourself. just leave that side alone. Try not to let all my little piles encroach on my space. Okay, so this goes here. So this one, I think I'm going to thread a ribbon through there, and I thought about, threading it through both layers, but I wanted you to be able to open that up, have more space, so I'm just going to thread it through that. I could do that, or that, some of those black. I don't have much in the way of red. I do have this one, but that might be too casual. I don't even have a plain red ribbon. I think I'll use this stripe. Some people sew their signatures when they've gotten, even before the stage that I'm at right now, signatures are cut, pages are cut and put together as a signature. And then they will sew it into the journal and then decorate it. So that's fine to do. But I like to do my decorating before I sew it in. And normally I say it's so that I know how wide to make the spine, but I've already made the spine in this case, but this is my pattern. I want to decorate before I sew it in. It's easier for me, especially if I decide to sew something, or if I want to stamp. I'm not going to stamp on a page that's already added to the book. It doesn't usually work well. But that doesn't mean I can't add more after I sew things in, like make things to put in the pockets and things like that. So that's just an extra little feature, having the flap that you can open up and write, and you have a pretty ribbon to embellish it. On this side, I'm going to add one of my little cutouts. And stamp this. I already did this in the other book. It's a quote from Coco Chanel. A girl should be two things, classy and fabulous. Oh, it's a little crooked, but you know what I could do? Didn't do in the other one, but I might. I think it would be fun to add one of these 50s starbursts. That makes it more fun, doesn't it? So I'm going to do that in the other journal before I forget. But I'll use a different color. Oh no, I should use the pink. She's got a hot pink hat there, and that should help tie that in. Let's do that. Fun. Oh, okay, this is a really fun feature. I decided to make it look like a 1950s photo album. Trying to get to my photo corners. Okay. So I'm using one of my digitals. One of these digital cards. I think I use this one. And I'm going to select some photo corners. I've got these silver ones. These are vintage, unused. I have some, like in here, there's a bunch of used ones that came out of old albums in various colors. Oh, that reminds me, various colors. I wanted to use the red ones in this book. I wanted a chance to use the red ones. These were in a recent photo album that I recently got. And they kind of stacked up their photos so that some of the corners were attached to each other. That is so cool. So I'm putting them on the piece. And I will apply some glue and make sure that they are on there the way I want them once the glue is on. Get that glue off. I don't want the card to be glued in. But the reason I'm putting them on the piece, of course, is so that I can, so that they're positioned properly on the page to fit the card. Okay, now I can glue it on and carefully pull the card out to make sure that no seeping glue glues the card down. Whoops, pop that right off, but it's got a spot, it left a mark here. Well, no, I'm going to try that again. Okay, hopefully that'll work. Then you can pull this out and write on it. I want to make sure it's good before it dries completely. Perfect. Now, isn't that fun? I love that. And here's the one I did in the other book with the silver. So this was a white page that hadn't been decorated, along with the other pages that I did were the backs of scrapbook papers, and this was just a white page out of an album. And I wanted to add something to it. I'm just going to add something to the flap here. Just something that will kind of hang off the flap. I don't know why I like to do that, but I do. One of my little square pieces. Here's another one of those skirts. Look at her feet. It's cute. I think I'll use her. If I trim the top, it might fit on there. No, it doesn't. Why did I think that would fit? That one's better. She has a bird on her finger. Trim that a tiny bit more. Obviously I didn't cut the picture very straight. Now I'm just going to put glue on half of it. Then I'm just going to add a strip of paper here. Just cut it a little skinnier. When that's dry, I'll round that corner. And I could add a little embellishment to it. had a paper punch of a flower. Oh, here it is. I just want to get a red flower. That's all. Whew, it's warm in here. Of course, I'm not in the heat wave that's engulfing the other side of the country. It's warm here. We're warm, but we're not in the hundreds. So I'm grateful for that. I think, sorry, it's just got noisy out there. I'm gonna punch a little yellow flower for the center. I love this punch from Stampin' Up. It gives me 3 sizes and shapes of flowers. I'll just put that little one there. I may come back and add one of these figures. I'll just do that right now because she looks cute there. So basically, you just go through, you've got your major pockets on. You can add more pockets, like I did those little ones on the book pages. Just see what you have left in your ephemera that you want to make sure it gets in the book, and make sure it gets there. That's what this stage is all about in the way that I do journals. I know everybody has their own process, and they just kind of develop over time, and they don't stay the same all the time. I don't do the same thing for every journal. For this page, I'm going to add a little bit of stamping. I'm just giving you some ideas in the way that I work. And I hope that it gives you some ideas and you can adapt them for your style. It does show through. And then on this page, I'll just add one of these ladies with the hats. Oops, I used that glue that shows through. Once it dries, it doesn't show through as much. It's not even showing through on that one. A lot of times I can see lines where I put the glue. And there's a little letter right there identifying the hat she's wearing, so you can look at the proper description. So I think I will cover that with a little flower. that takes us to the center of the book. Let's see what else we need to do. Let's see what I did in this one. I already did that. I think we kind of worked on full pages instead of just half the page. Maybe that. Oh, that's what we just, no, it's not what we just did. It's right here. How about this Avon advertisement? I can add that to this page. My mother used to use a lot of Avon products. I remember the Avon lady coming to our house and leaving lipstick samples and perfume samples. And I remember my mother's dresser with her beautiful, I'm sorry, I'm out of frame, her beautiful Avon perfume bottles. And they're collector's items now. I remember her tall yellow one with the jewel at the top. That was for her perfume called Topaz. But she had other ones too. I loved touching them, taking the tops off, playing with them. And I'll just glue that down there. There is that. And I might come back later and do something with that page, but I'm going to leave it alone for now. I will add something to the back here, one of these little cutouts. I believe the next step should be putting things in the pockets. Sometimes I do that as I go. You've seen some tags in the pockets because sometimes I make a pocket specifically for tags or cards that I've made. So that's part of the early process. But then I go back and make sure there are things in all of the pockets, and maybe I put extra things, add something else to some of the pockets. So, and then I make sure if I'm inking edges on any of them, I make sure that I do that as I go through. So that signature is done for this step of the process. So I have 4 more signatures to do, 2 blue ones and 2 red ones. Thank you so much for coming along today. I hope you got some ideas, and at least we're playing along with me, because we all should do something creative every day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.